Alright, so before we get started on this entire training, I just want to go over a bit about mindset and what a winning product means, or at least to me, right? So when someone says winning product, this is what I immediately think of, right? A product that consistently generates profit on a WC, website conversion objective campaign in Facebook ads. So if you're not sure what a website conversion objective is, I recommend that you look at my first YouTube video where I explain the Facebook ad auction and campaign objective types. I'll put a link to those videos in the description below here, so I recommend you do go and look at that because I go really in depth on that aspect of Facebook ads. But what I see a lot of people do is that when they're doing their testing on Facebook on a PPE campaign, they'll find a product that's profitable on PPE and they think that they immediately find a winner. Or they go out and test, and in the first couple of days they get sales and they think they have a product winner. That is definitely not the case, right? So there's 3 phases of Facebook advertising, which I'll get onto soon. But in order to have a winner, you need to have a product that is running profitably on WC, not PPE, on website conversion objective in Facebook ads, and it needs to be consistent, so it needs to be profitable for at least, I would say, 3 days, right? So we'll get, I've got another section on Facebook ads, and we'll get much deeper into the separate phases, but because this is another thing that I want to tell you guys, right? So there's not just one kind of winning product, right? There are different types of winning products, and some winning products will make you a lot of money. Some winning products will not make you a lot of money. They'll be profitable, but they won't generate, tons of profit, right? So there's such thing as like a small winner, right? And that could mean that the campaign is profitable or verging on break even, where you're running it, you're getting maybe couple $100 a day in profit. So there's medium winners. That's when you're doing about 300 to 400 profit a day. Big winners is when you're doing about 1K to 2K a day. And life-changing winners is when you're doing over 3K a day. And this is net profit, right? So that's after expenses, after transaction fees, after all the Shopify expenses, right? And after ad spend, right? So what determines small to life-changing winners is 2 things, right? So the first thing is the target audience size and the product saturation. So if you go out there and you choose a product that has a real general audience and the target audience is huge, it's going to be much easier to scale it. But in saying that, products where the target audience is huge are also extremely hard to find audiences for and really hard to get off the ground as well. So it's a double-edged sword. I'll get into that later, but the second one is product saturation. So this means how many people are already promoting that product, right? So if you have lots of different advertisers promoting a product, that means it's saturated. If there's not as many people promoting the product, it's not as saturated. Okay, so this is where a lot of people screw up, and the reason they screw up is because they start off with the wrong mindset. So there's 3 phases that I want to go over that relate to finding a winning product using Facebook ads, right? So there's another section later in this training about Facebook ads where we'll go into depth in this, but I just want to make it clear because people get really, really, really frustrated that they can't find a winning product in the first few days and they end up quitting, when if they just stayed at it for like a week or a couple more weeks, they would eventually find a winning product, and that winning product would cover all the losses they made previously. So it's really, really important just to stay on track and to not give up. And the reason that you shouldn't give up is because you should look at it in these 3 different phases, right? So up here, there's the PPE testing phase, right? So this is when you're testing 6 products at a time on PPE using the data points. And I've actually got updated data points in the later part of the training, which I'll show you. The second phase is transitioning. Okay, so say if you have, let's take it back a step. Say if you have a product on PPE that's doing really well and it's profitable, right? It's not a winner yet. You need to transfer it. You need to transition it to this phase here. So PPE to WC transitioning. So page post engagement objective to WC, website conversion objective, right? So sometimes you'll have a profitable PPE campaign, but you won't be able to transition it to a WC campaign. If you're able to transfer the PPE campaign to a website conversion campaign and it's profitable, then you're in the scaling phase. And this is when you have a clear winner, right? So right up in this first phase here in PPE, you need to be prepared to go negative in the PPE testing phase, right? So you need to be prepared to lose money. And I've got here, you will lose money, right? Every time I test PPE products, I lose money, right? But I don't look at it like that. I look at it like I'm gathering data, right? I'm gathering data on what's working. On average, if I test 12 products, I'll usually find 1 or 2 products that I can transition to this PPE to WC transitioning phase here, right? I've still lost money on those 10 products, right? So you need to be prepared to lose money here. And you shouldn't even think about getting profit here. A lot of people give up in this stage and say, oh, I lost $100 testing products, only one was good. That's just not the kind of mindset you need to have, right? When you reach this stage here, the PPE to WC transitioning stage, right? This is when you sort of stop losing money, right? You might be break even, or you might be maybe slightly negative. This should be the phase when you can see if your products have potential to turn profit and become winners, right? And then this stage here, this is where you generate all your profits, right? The WC scaling phase. When you're scaling your WC campaigns, this is where you make all the profit that will cover the losses up here, right? These losses will in fact be like very, very, very minor when you're able to scale this, because you'll make so much profit that you can cover this like in the first day, right? And that's what people don't understand, right? People will come to here and they'll be like, oh, I'm losing so much money, right? The point of this phase here isn't to make money. You're not making money at any of these phases. You make money down here, right? So instead of having the mindset that you're losing money, you need to have the mindset that I'm progressing to the next phase. So yeah, I mean, if you progress to this phase, like that's awesome. If you've lost money and you progress to this phase, it's still awesome, right? Because you're one step closer to scaling and to making all your money back. So don't look at it like you're losing money. Look at it like you're progressing through each phase.